Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to the DevNation show. My name is Sebastian Blanc, but all my friends call me Sebi. That's my nickname. Okay? So, short disclaimer here. I'm half French, half Dutch. That is why I have this weird accent. I could speak with a really strong French accent, or with that Dutchy accent. But no, I'm a mix of both. So you have to deal with it. I will make mistakes while I speak. But that's me, Tabby. So, the DevNation show. I'm so excited. We are trying something completely new here, okay? Things change a bit. The last month, we are in a really weird period of this year. And remember, back in January, I just joined the team, the developer advocacy team, and I was supposed to spend more nights at the Marriott Hotel than in my own bed. Do you hear that? More nights at the Marriott Hotel than in my own bed. But things change. Back in March, we had the lockdown, pandemic, and we could not travel anymore. And all the conferences were cancelled, by the way, so that was not the problem. So we decided to go online in the team. We did that pretty quickly, and we did that with our master courses. We provided master courses in different time zones, in different languages. I was doing the French track, and I really enjoyed it. I had to go out of my comfort zone. Instead of doing only Keycloak talks, I had to do talks about Knative, Tekton, really complicated stuff. But I really liked it, okay? But yeah, everyone went online. And it's always the same thing at the end. You attend a webinar and you watch that. And we were thinking in the team, we should do something else. Like the TV shows, like Saturday Night Live. It's pretty popular. And so came the idea of the show. So you will enjoy the show, I'm sure. Fasten your seatbelt. It's now DevNation show. And now you should have a band playing, like in all the shows. We were a bit short in budget. So for now, I will play the band. I will do the music. And each week, I will take a different music instrument and I will play the intro song, okay? So, for this week I have this really weird instrument. It's called a handpan, okay? And it makes a really nice sound, and that will be the intro of the show. Are you ready? There we go! Okay, welcome again. Let me put this instrument back here so it's not in the middle. And yeah, before we start with the news, there's something I want to talk about. And I mentioned that in the introduction. A really weird time. So first of all, I hope you are all safe, relaxed, lay back in your chair, but please don't fall asleep, okay? I want to talk about Zoom fatigue. Zoom fatigue is a real thing, okay? And a lot of people realize that they were not used to work remotely, and they discovered the Zoom fatigue, okay? Zoom fatigue has gotten so bad. Yeah, you wake up in the morning, you have a team meeting on Zoom, and then maybe later you have another meeting with management, and then you have a webinar, and then in the evening you have maybe a Zoom with your friends. That's a lot of stuff. And Zoom fatigue, you can just search for it on Twitter, on the hashtag. You will see a lot about it. There are even scientific articles about Zoom fatigue, okay? I wonder, that is something that I sometimes speak with my team about, and maybe we can check a bit what they think about the Zoom fatigue. Let me just do something here, and okay. Edson and Burr, what do you think about Zoom fatigue? Burr? Edson? Maybe I need to wake them up? Edson? Edson?
Oh,
Edson? Burr?
yes, I agree. Yeah. Oh.
Burr? Burr, you're there? Hi.
Yeah?
Hey,
What's
sorry
going
to
on?
wake you up. I was talking about Zoom fatigue. Do you
Oh.
know what Zoom fatigue is?
Too many YouTube videos. That's what it
Too
is.
many YouTube videos? Okay. So, I really hope that you won't fall asleep. And I'm sure you won't fall asleep because we will have a lot of fun. And now it's time for the first section of the show. We will share some news. So I need here to click on. And there we are. I mixed a bit with the buttons, but you should see me now. And we will talk about a bit about some news. So I have collected a lot of news here. Let me see this one. No, we don't want this. Oh yeah. I love YAML. Should I carry? So you can send questions if you want using this hashtag or on the chat or on Twitter. And I will try to answer them next week. So I love YAML. Should I worry? Yeah, probably. Tabs with spaces. The truth. One day I will tell you the truth. Okay. Service mesh news. Yes, I got news about that. Service mesh news. Let's talk a bit about service mesh. Okay. Service mesh, and let me put the white button here. There we go. Service mesh. So a few weeks ago, Microsoft announced the Open Service Mesh. Okay? Yet another service mesh. To be honest, I haven't tried it. I'm sure it's working pretty well. It's based on Envoy. And what I really liked was the reaction on Twitter about it. There was this tweet from David. He says, well, the number of service meshes that exist exceeds the number of users using service mesh. And that was hilarious for me, okay? Even Kinsley Hightower, really famous in the IT world, he said, let me announce the Hightower service mesh based on Envoy, industry first. And he even pointed to a GitHub repo. And if you go to this GitHub repo, the repo exists, but it's just an empty repo with just a README saying, just kidding. Though he was trolling hard, really trolling here, but still funny. A few hours later, he did another tweet, this time more serious. He says, well, maybe you can be confused about Istio. It's a lot of concepts. Service mesh are a lot of new concepts. Maybe you should try to start from the beginning by learning Envoy. The sidecar proxy that comes along with your workloads. You should learn how it works. Play with it, even without Istio, even without a Kubernetes cluster. Just play with it. And that resonates pretty well with me because that is exactly what I did a few years ago. I had to learn Istio for my previous project, Keycloak. But I didn't want to deploy a Kubernetes because I didn't know anything about Kubernetes for Istio. So I started to play with Istio on my local machine. And yeah, so I could understand everything. And you know what the funny thing? I even did a pull request on Envoy, on the JOT filter. A pull request in C++. It was probably the first and last time that I did a C++ pull request. Okay? That is Service Mesh. I got some other news to share about Service Mesh. Let me show you that. I hope it works. I'm working with a lot of different layers here. Oh yeah, let me remove it. Yeah, Istio 1.7 has been released. I think it was 3 days ago. And yeah, a lot of security improvements. I can browse through that a bit. security improvements, where it is. Oh yeah, but what I like is this feature is the delaying of the start of your application. Now with Istio 1.7, it will make sure that your application, that the proxy is started before starting your application. Because it could happen. I know my colleague Alex Soto, he had built a Quarkus app, native app, and it started before the Envoy proxy. And that can be a problem. You miss some metrics, some security issues. Anyway, with 1.7, that has been fixed. And to finish on service mesh, I also came across this article from last week. And it's an overview of 9 different service mesh, open source service mesh solutions, okay? So if you want to have a good overview of that, and I think Burr will share the link in the chat. I'm seeing that chat here. Well, it's a great article to get a great overview of what is happening in the service mesh world. Okay, that is for me for the news. Let me go to the next news item. Oh yeah, drink some water. That is a news item for me. Let me drink some water. And I hope everything is going fine. And that there's no much trouble here. Audio looks like it's working fine. Okay, awesome. I see people asking for COBOL news. Wait for it. Let me see. I got here Cube news. I have a lot of Cube news, okay? Let me remove the browser here. Let me remove this one. And let me go this one. So as you all know, last week was KubeCon, the big event around Kubernetes. It was supposed to happen in Amsterdam, but you know, because of the pandemic, it was all virtual. A lot of announcements, great keynotes as always, and maybe the best to give you an overview of what happened during this is just to go on the CNCF Twitter account. They have tweeted a lot during KubeCon, and there you will have an overview of the announcements, some numbers, and the keynotes. Like here, the tweet that you see, I didn't watch all the keynotes, but this keynote is from Holly Cummings. She's from IBM. She's a great speaker. I saw her several times. And she did a keynote about our impact as developer on the planet. Because, you know, data centers consumes energy. That's obvious. And we, as developer, as ops, as DevOps, we can have an impact on that. How? Well, by making nice cloud-native application that consumes less CPU, less memory, and even if you make it serviceless, it won't consume any energy at all if it's not running. So keep that in mind. Be aware of that. You make great software for yourself, for the business, for the customers, but also for the planet. So just keep that in mind. It was really a great keynote. What do we have else here? Numbers, yeah. I really like that. They always share some numbers during KubeCon. So KubeCon, it's more than 50 projects that are under the umbrella of the CNCF. 1,000 contributors all around the world trying to make a better cloud native experience, okay? Speaking of the projects, KubeCon is also the moment where they announce projects that were in the sandbox that goes to incubating, okay? And that happened this year. And the first tweet that I saw about that was Thanos. So Thanos went to incubating, okay? And you might not know what Thanos is. So imagine that you have your cluster, you probably have Prometheus, you know, that is that component to collect metrics. And but maybe it needs to scale, and maybe you want long-term retention of these metrics. So you want a solid solution for your Prometheus. And Thanos is exactly what it provides, okay? But a few minutes later, there was another tweet saying, welcome Cortex to incubating. I say, Cortex? I don't know Cortex. So I checked Cortex. And if you look at Cortex, it says, horizontally scalable, highly available multi-tenant long-term Prometheus. that sounds pretty much the same as Tanas. And in fact, it is the same. And it's not surprising. We have a lot of different projects solving the same problem. And that is great. That is competition. We need it. And that reminds me another tweet from the CNCF from a few years ago, but that still makes sense. This one. And I really like this part. The CNCF doesn't want to be a kingmaker. They don't want to say, okay, it's Thanos to handle your Prometheus. No, they pick promising projects and they put it in incubating, even if they compete together. And in my opinion, that is really, really great news. Okay? Other news from KubeCon, there was also, this one. KubeCon, Kubernetes 1.19 was officially announced. It will be released in the coming days. And that tweet is so funny because they say it's almost the end of Kubernetes, but they're speaking about a dev team. And they're really already setting up the 1.20 team. Okay? With the funny GIF here and there. So that was for the overall news. But again, if you want to have more news, just go on the CNCF Twitter account. They did a really nice coverage. What I want to do is mention some specific news. I'm just checking here that everything works fine. There we go. I want to mention some news around KubeCon and Red Hat because, Red Hat. So we had some great announcements. That is for later. First of all, do I have the tab open here? I don't have it open here. Yes, I have it open here. We officially announced Openshift 4.5, okay? It was already available for a few weeks, but KubeCon was the great opportunity to make it official. Again, it comes with a bunch of new features, focus on developer experience, but also focus on edge computing. Edge computing is, having these constrained devices like a Raspberry Pi on which you can run a cluster instance. Okay, so Red Hat will focus on that. But news that I really liked was about Argo CD. Red Hat officially announced that they will support Argo CD. And you might wonder, hey, I don't know what Argo CD is. So let me open a bit Argo CD here. I should have it open. Yeah, there we go. So Argo CD is wow, that's hard for me to say. Declarative, I will say it in French. Declarative, GitHub's continuous delivery tool for Kubernetes. In other words, in your cluster, you have your deployments, your services. It's all represented by YAML files. YAML. And each time that I do a master course on Kubernetes, I always get the question that, hey, Sebi, how do I manage these files? And what I told them, I say, it's just like a source file. You put it in your GitHub repo, in your source control, and that's it. Argo CD is that, but a step beyond. It will automate a lot of stuff for you. It's doing GitOps. That means that your deployment YAML, for instance, if you need to make a change to it, you want to change the image, well, you make the change to your YAML file, and then you make a commit on your Git repo. And Argo CD will make sure to deploy that in your cluster. You don't have to care about that part. So imagine all the possibilities now. You can work with different branches, pushing to different namespaces or different clusters. You can integrate with your CI/CD solution. Speaking of that, I hope I have it open here. I don't have it open. Let me open that really quickly. Our YouTube channel. We'll share the link as well from our YouTube channel. So this is the show, but last week we also had Tech Talks on Thursday. And last week we had a talk from Signac about Argo CD and Tecton. Okay? So if you want to see how Argo CD works and by the same time learn about Tecton, which is the native Kubernetes solution for CI/CD, you should check this talk. And you should also subscribe to this channel. We are almost close to the 10K. I'm sure after the show we can make it to the 10K. Okay? I think I'm done for the KubeCon news. Let me check my notes. Oh, COBOL news. Yeah. So I made this card this weekend, to make a joke. But actually, people reacted on Twitter and say, Sibi, COBOL is still a thing. And Sun, a colleague of me, community manager of the Eclipse Che project, say, we can do COBOL on Eclipse Che, the IDE in the cloud. I say, I don't believe you. Make a video, and then I will believe you. And he say, okay, no problem. And, yesterday, he say, hey, Sebi, check what I did. And believe it or not, he made a little screencast showing how you can code in COBOL in Eclipse Che. So Eclipse Che is running here in Kubernetes, and you're just coding COBOL, okay? He made another video of that, and I will show you that next week, okay? Let me see the time. I see the time. I'm running a bit late, but it should be okay. Last news item, DevNation news, okay? So, as I said here, it's the show, but let me switch. We still have a lot of events at DevNation. So today is the show, but in 2 days, it will be the tech talk, and we will have something called hacking the mesh by using WebAssembly modules. That sounds really interesting. So be sure to register for the tech talk. And anyway, if you don't want to miss anything about tech talks, you should go to dn.dev/upcoming, and that will bring you to a page where we list all our events. Okay? There's one thing happening in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. Of September the 15th, something big around DevNation. We will have a DevNation Day. Okay? I lost the link here. Burr sent it to me just before, but I think I lost it again. DevNation Day, maybe this one? I think it's this one. There we go, I remember. So, of September the 15th, we will have a whole day of conferences. We will have a lot of amazing keynotes. Look, Clayton, Jessica Forrester. And then we will have 3 tracks, JavaScript, Python, and Java. We will have Ray, our guest, who is almost ready to begin his interview. But yeah, registration is open, I think, Burr. Maybe you can confirm that. But that is huge news. Okay? That is it for me for the news, and I think it's now time for the interview. So now it's time for...
Hello.
I'm back. Hey Ray, are you there?
I'm here. What's up? How are you?
Ray, let me just change something because I don't... Did you enable your camera? I don't see you.
I think I did.
Let me see if I did something wrong. Oh, there you are. Okay, there we are. Okay, also, hey, Ray, thank you so much for being our first guest of the show. Yeah, I'm really honored. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are things? Great?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Actually being very busy. It's busier than before, funny enough. Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. We can speak about that, but same for me.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know you, Ray, can you explain us in 30 seconds how you became the Ray that we all know? Who are you? 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh, that's really hard. So I'm a developer advocate currently at Google, and I focus exclusively on Java developers and Java developer experiences running on Google. And I'm actually an ex-Red Hatter. I've been in the industry for a while now, and I used to work with some of the folks here at Red Hat. So it's good to be back on the show. It's been a while seeing you guys.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I really enjoyed seeing you. Yeah. Just before the show, Burr, Edson, Kamesh, we were all in the call, and it was really funny. So you said you are a developer advocate like us in the team, and during the lockdown, we could not travel anymore. And I know you were traveling like a crazy like us. So how did you handle this situation?
Yeah, so I think my last travel was maybe in February, and since then I've been home every day, and I have to cook all the meals, and I'm like just eating home every single day. And the good thing is that I'm actually battle tested for this part because when I was working with Red Hat, I stay home every day anyways. But as a developer advocate, I think many people adapted to different forms, right? We work differently, or we maybe focus on a few things. It's actually quite nice now that I'm not traveling as much. I'm focusing a lot on the work internally, right? Trying to work with the product teams a lot more. So we have a lot more time to doing that as opposed to be, stuck in an airplane or something like that. Yeah. So it's actually quite productive in a way, but also potentially overproductive because there's just so much work. Yeah. There's always work. I guess that's the way to see it.
Work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. At least in this setting.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a bit about tech, about Kubernetes. I just throw you a question. What is your favorite Kubernetes feature right now, which is available?
Current feature? Oh, that's a hard one. I think as I work with a lot of the folks using Kubernetes, and especially people who are getting started, they are only a few things that we have to really understand and use to really get started and have a good foundation. And can I choose two? Can I have more than one?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the most basic thing, of course, is the fact that you can, make a deployment that can then automatically schedule your workload onto the machines that's available, right? That's number one, and you can scale it. But then after that, I think the other really critical feature is the health checking that can, do some of the automatic health checks and restarts. I mean, to me, that's the most basic fundamental application lifecycle features that everyone should be using. And, it makes the system run better and you can be more hands-off. So to me, that's, definitely one of my favorite features, right? Because without it, Kubernetes wouldn't be today, I think. Yeah, so those are the first features that's out there, and they're still my favorites today. Yeah, the most basic ones, really. Yeah.
And these favorite features are also part of the best practices that you are trying to share with us in talks and in articles, no? Because it's really important.
Yeah, because I do see quite a few instances where the users do not actually set some of these settings, right? Like having a good health check or properly configuring the health checks, and their application does not respond to some of these failures well, and they cannot actually operate it properly. And it's actually quite important that everyone is using it. Yeah. But I think there are just so many new features. It's really hard to keep track of what's coming, what's new, right? I do like the fact of quite a few things where, as I'm consuming, say, cloud, like say Google Cloud, if I want to expose like a load balancer, right, I can use the Kubernetes constructs to create like an ingress, which then makes it a real load balancer in the cloud. Like that's the next step, right? Once you have your application running properly, then you can expose it to the external services. And it's really nice to be able to do all of these directly within the Kubernetes context, as opposed to, exiting that and then, learn about, how to do this in a specific environment. I mean, that's important too, but to get started, I think creating an ingress is actually a pretty nice way to doing it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and what if you could pick one feature that doesn't yet exist, but that you could put in the next Kubernetes release? The feature that you dream of, but you can just pick it and it will be available in the next Kubernetes release. What would that be?
Let's see. There was one that was on my mind, and then I'm thinking other things right now. Like, okay. For example, maybe less YAML would be kind of nice. That's one thing. just like more expressive and higher level constructs for some of the common tasks, right? And I think there are many projects trying to do that today with, say, Knative and other things, right? Just higher level abstraction so that, we have less configuration to write, but it does a lot more of what we intend to do, right? There's a lot of intentions that we can potentially encode into a smaller set of configurations. Yeah. And so with that, my ultimate feature that would be kind of nice is, say, you have kubectl run a binary, or kubectl run a jar file. Just, everyone has a jar in Java applications nowadays. Just run a jar and, and figure out the rest for me. That would be really nice.
Oh yeah, kubectl jar, my jar, and it deploys your jar.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think there's an issue for this for a long time, I think, and there are some votes on it too.
Okay, awesome.
But like people think that this may be too high level for Kubernetes or something. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
But I like what you say about higher level, and you mentioned Knative. What I would like to have in Kubernetes vanilla is declare a service like I do with Knative. I just do a service YAML, and it creates a deployment for me, the root, everything. When you have been doing Knative for a long time and you come back to classic Kubernetes, you say, oh man, do I really have to make this deployment? Do I have to make the service? In Knative, it was just 5 lines of YAML, and I had everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was working on my own some kind of documentation. So I call this experiment a blog document or a docu-blog, right? Like how we write blogs, right? And I don't typically write transient blogs. However, I like to encode everything into proper documentation with good structure. And so I started to write something on my site, which is satanism.me, and you can go check it out too later. And so I have this documentation on how to run and operate Java applications on Kubernetes, right? And there are just so many steps in there, which is great to learn about Kubernetes. And it's good to know these details, right? Even if we're learning about higher level abstractions, we still need to know exactly how things work, right? And that's where, kind of too much magic, too much abstractions make it really hard to troubleshoot in the future. So it's still important to know all of these things. So just to deploy a simple service, right, I had to show how to do deployments, learn about the pods, create a service, learn about ingress, and, and so on and so forth. There are like 3-4 things you have to do. But a higher level abstraction like Knative would take care of all of that just to get your application serving on the internet. So it's nice. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let me see if there are questions here on, no question for the audience so far. Let's talk a bit about Java because you're a Java champion.
Yay.
So yeah, tell me whatever you want about Java.
I love Java. It's my go-to language for a long time now. Yeah. It's, and funny thing is, I actually have done quite a few other development in the past. All the way from Perl, right? The old days of the web application, PHP. I've done a lot of that. C++, mobile applications back then with like Windows ME and Palm Pilot, right? And then I found my way back into Java, which was great. And now I'm back to here too. Yeah, it's a lot of interesting news. I can't wait for the new release. Java, what's the newest version? 17? Is that the one that's gonna be the low LTS? But the recent one is that has the record and everything else. That's all coming together really, really well. So I think the language itself is doing well. Yeah. Are you keeping track of all the new features? That everything that comes in Java 15? I don't know. Classes, records, everything. To be honest, it's going so fast for me. I need to I need time. Yeah. So
on that.
Yeah. So I've seen quite a bit about records and CO classes, and I think what is that code when you can do a switch statement on the type with the instance of, or you can do a if. But then since you already done the instance of already, you don't have to recast it. So that's really nice. I can't wait for that because I was just writing some Java recently, and I'm doing instance of, unfortunately, and I have to cast it all the time. I'm like, oh, come on, just do this for me already. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's funny there. I was, before joining Red Hat, I was a Groovy programmer. I loved Groovy.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of features that were only available in Groovy, and now Java is taking it up.
It's moving.
So it's moving. It's moving.
Yeah,
it's good news. Yeah. And Java and Cloud Native, does that work well together?
I mean, I actually think so. I think it can work really well. Because, we have, for example, on Google Cloud, we have, a lot of the serverless offerings as well, right? In addition to Kubernetes, which has really good application lifecycle support. And on serverless, we have like Cloud Run and App Engine, where you can just deploy. App Engine is where you can say, gcloud app deploy a jar, right? You just give us a jar file, we just run it, right? And these things actually work typically pretty well. My thinking has always been, in most cases, the startup time should not be tied to the cold start time, right? Because we've been operating Java applications for so long, right? We operate a Java application when the cold start is 40 minutes. Right? Like the old application servers. I've been there before. I had to do my deployments all night, all evening, right? And hopefully we're done by 4, before 7 o'clock when everyone wakes up and have traffic. I've been through that, right? But even then, that startup time is, there are ways to manage it. However, of course, it's not as scalable, right? It's not as scalable. But it's all about application lifecycle, where you can tell, how is your application being started? Is it ready to serve traffic? Is there a good contract between graceful shutdown and your application? Right? As long as you have some of these things and the load balancer is behaving properly, then you can actually run most of especially the newer frameworks, right? Whether it's Quarkus or Spring or others, right? With not a 40-minute startup time, obviously, but a few seconds, 10, like that's pretty manageable. That's already a lot better. Obviously, if we are in the, environment where I think application lifecycle is not so well established, right? We're not expected, right? So, for example, like in some cases, like a function where it's really expected to just start and take work and finish it, without this type of health checking, then maybe that's where things will really show up, and you do need the faster startup time. Yeah. Yeah. So I think Java in the JVM in general is gonna be okay. Now I also feel like they've been optimized for different things. So for example, traditionally the JVM runs for longer periods of time, so that you can optimize the code a lot better. So it runs ideally faster over time, right? And we do all the optimizations with background threads and connection pooling and all of these things, trying to offload the processing time away from the request, right? So that you can respond to the request really, really quickly. But they all have some kind of penalty, right? There's some kind of trade-off that needs to be made. And those things typically, is the thing that causes potentially the startup time to be a little slower. Yeah, just the thread pools and everything you have to initialize. It takes time. Yeah. But I think the other thing. Yeah, exactly. There's no free lunch. Yeah, exactly. But some other thing that's really exciting, of course, is the whole GraalVM with the native image. Yeah. So the stuff that you can compile down to native code. I know you all have done a lot of work around that, which is fantastic. It's great to see some forward momentum to making that into reality that's useful in a production setting.
Yeah. I love to combine Knative with Quarkus native app, because it makes really sense together. How it starts up so fast, it's a great combination. That's awesome. Let me check the time. Yeah, we are almost running out of time already. Let me, because we still have a game to play. I'm checking if there are any questions for you on the chat. No, they are discussing about other stuff, but I'm sure they're listening to you because you were really saying interesting stuff.
Yeah, Bernie's the better goatee.
You will have a talk, by the way, at DevNation Day in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You have, about Java, no?
Oh, is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks?
Oh, 3 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe 3 weeks.
Oh,
in 3
yeah.
weeks, 3 weeks. Sorry.
3 weeks, okay. Oh, whew, you scared me. I'm like, I need to go get ready for that. I'll see you later. Yeah, I think
That will
yeah, I think it's about how can we, some of the best practices that we need for running, say, Java applications in Kubernetes. There are quite a few things that I've seen other people miss when I go through a production environment. So I actually sent a few systems to production recently within the past year. So I do a lot of these hands-on work recently as well, which is kind of nice. And I do watch out for some of these best practices that is important if you get into production. I've seen people and others go into production without some of these practices fail, and and they cannot move on. But there are simple things that we just have to be aware of, and it will make everyone more successful. Yeah.
Okay, really interesting. So again, people, be sure to register for DevNation Day if you don't want to miss Ray's talk. Ray, we have to stop it here because we're going to play a game now all together with all the attendees. You can stay if you want, or you can drop. You do whatever you want. But again, thank you so much. It was really interesting. For all your insights about Java, about the cloud native. It's really, really interesting. And thank you for being the first guest of our show. You will make history. So,
thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me as the first guest.
Okay.
Really
Hey,
appreciate
Ray,
it.
thank you so much. And see you next time virtually, probably, because I'm not sure when we will be able to travel, but thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Later.
Bye-bye. Okay then, and now it's time for the game. Okay, so let me switch to the game jingle, because I have a jingle for that. Let me just go. I'm handling a lot of stuff here. I have 3 different computers, a computer in the cloud, a Stream Deck. That should be okay. Okay, there we go for the game. Okay, and we are back for the last part. And what we will do here, let me go on the right side here. Yeah, we will play a game all together. It's a trivia game that our team built. Well, most has been built by Alex Sato. Well, let me just show you how we did that. Now, you don't want to see my emails. Let me just make sure, for the next time, I will make sure. I have been logged off my cluster. There we go. Okay, so we built a game using the latest technologies, using Quarkus, of course, using G-Cloak to protect it, and we deployed that on Openshift. Okay, this is an Openshift running on AWS, on Amazon, but we could have done that on Azure, on Google Cloud, because, with OpenShift, doesn't matter on which public cloud you are. Okay, it's a pretty simple trivia game. I will share the link with you in a few moments. I need to initiate the game first. Okay, so let me just go here and let me log in. There we go. That should be good. Okay, that is not good, but don't worry. So it's the first time that we will play it with so many people. And to be honest, I think it will work well, but I cannot assure that. You will be a bit the beta testers of this. It will be a trivia game about Java question, Kubernetes question, but not only that, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to init the game. Now it's in it, And now I should share the link with you on the chat. Burr will share it on Twitch, but I can share it here. It's dion.dev/08. Oh, thank you, Burr. Awesome. Okay, so now everyone can join here. Let me double check here if I can see people joining. There are 3 people, 4 players. Okay, keep it coming. 7 players, 9 players. Come on, 10 players. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. So for everyone that is joining, you should see a nickname generated for you. By the way, I can just join as a player as well. Let me go here and let me open that here. Message. Okay. And you'll see a nickname is generated for you. And we have some rules. So we will have 20 seconds to questions. Be careful, you can only click 1 time the answer. The fastest you click, the more points you get. And when it's done, you will see, after the time is done, you will see if you were correct or incorrect. Okay? And then I will reveal the answer to you. Are you all ready? Let me check again a bit here. The admin interface, how far we are. 43 plays. Wow, that is crazy. So I really hope this will be all good. Okay. I need to do something else so you can see the questions on my side here. Let me just do something here, and then we are about to start the game. So are you all ready? There's a small delay. So you should see the question before I speak, okay? There is the first question. What is the name of the Java mascot? Okay, there we go. Is it Tuki? Is it Juke? Is it Puke? Is it Pookie? Are you 5 more seconds? Let me see. Okay, time is off. And let me see a bit here. Wow! Okay, so we have most of the people that answer B. So maybe B was the right answer. And some people answer C, A, okay. Oh yeah, and that is one thing I forgot to fix is the scoreboard. But don't worry. Okay, let me reveal the right answer. The right answer was, of course, Juke, okay? You should all see the right answer here, okay? And by the way, if people don't know who Juke is, well, Juke is this little thing here. That is Juke, okay? Okay, let's go to the next question then. Next question, are you all ready? Next question. This is a hard one, okay? What job did Uncle Owen and Aunt Barry have on Tatooine? Okay, you know, that is a Star Wars question. Uncle Owen and Aunt Barry went on Tatooine and they had a job. Or maybe not, maybe they were retired, okay? Okay, so let me see what people answered here, because it's a really hard question. I'm curious. So, we have a great mixture of answers here. Okay, and let me reveal the answer for you now. And let me see, I have to switch between different stuff. The right answer was moisture farmers, okay? Moisture farmers. Let me remove the overlay. And you know what? I went on Tatooine. You don't believe me? I really went on Tatooine. Look, Tatooine is here. It's a small village in Tunisia. And I lived for 5 years in Tunisia. And I went there with my parents. It's at the beginning of the desert. And yeah, Tatooine exists. And they shot the movie there, I think, the part of Tatooine. And if you wonder where I live now, I live somewhere here around, okay? So let's continue with the next question. Are you still? Oh, we can take a look at the scoreboard here quickly. I hope you see it. So Dennis 200 is leading with 31 points, okay? Followed by Ida and Brenda. You will see the score at the end. Oh, wow. Okay, let's go to the next question. Next question is a naked pod. What is a naked pod? A naked pod is a standalone pod, a pod with no closes, a pod with a replica set associated, a pod that cannot be scaled. So let's see what people say. There we go. Let me see a bit. Well, most of the people had the right answer. And of course, it's a standalone pod. Okay, oh, I'm clicking here in OBS. That's not going to work. Rebuild. Okay, and now we go to the next question. Are you ready? And there we go. How many timelines are there in Back to the Future? How many timelines exist in Back to the Future? Is it 7, 12, 21, 42? 42 the magic number? Let's see. This is a really difficult one. Let me see if you got it right. I'm really curious. And let me see now. Aha! Yeah. If you don't know it, you cannot you cannot know it. The right answer, let me reveal it here. The right answer is 21. Okay? 21. Yeah. If you want to know more about this, you can go. Let me go on the right thing here. There's a link that Burr can share maybe with you. Burr, you should have the link explaining all the timelines of Back to the Future. Okay, and continue to the next questions. Okay, and Dennis is still leading here with 45.0, but Ida is not so far. Okay, let me go to the next question. Ring Builder is thread safe? Yes or no, or maybe, or it depends, or yes in Java 14. And I see some really funny stuff here. What do you call a naked bot traveling back on time to Tatooine? Naked pod. Really funny, Walid. Time is off. Okay, so let me check the results here with you. And people say answer C. And to be honest, I lost the count here. Let me reveal the answer. Puff, puff. And you should see here, and it was, well, people do not agree here. So I'm not sure we made a mistake. I just grabbed question from my team, but yeah. Anyway, let's go to the next question. And well, we are almost running out of time, but it should be okay. Next question. What happens if a readiness probe fails on a pod? Okay. Let me remove this so you can see. It's removed from the service load balancer. The pod is deleted. Pod is restarted. Oh, it's probably the naked pod. He forgot to put his clothes on, so he is not ready. What do you think it is? Let's see the results. Yeah, so most of the people answer correctly here. Oh, and it's interesting because things change in the scoreboard as well. Guido has taken the lead here, followed by Björn and Brendan and Dennis. Okay, and let me reveal the answer here. And the answer was so removed from the service load balancer service. Okay, next question. It is a really difficult one. Okay, who is the only rebel pilot to survive aerial battles in all three original movies? Is that Wedges Antilles, Luke Skywalker, Lando Calrissian, or Jan Solo? Are you ready? Okay, and let me see here what happened. Wow, most of the people didn't find a good answer because the good answer is, let me show you, it's Wedges Antilles. So if, like me, you don't know exactly who Wedges Antilles is, it's this guy. And he did a lot of other great things. For instance, he was the first one to bring down this Imperial Marcher. He's also the only one that battled in both Death Stars. Okay, so he did a lot of great things. Next question. And Guido is still leading here. Next question, let me go to the next question. which version of Java introduced records? Okay, and there we go. Which version of Java introduced records? Was it Java 12, Java 11, Java 14, or JavaScript? Okay, and let's see if people answer correctly here. Yeah, most of people answer correctly. Answer C. It was Java 14. Let me reveal the answer for you. We can see it here. Okay, I think there are 2 questions left, and that should be okay. Let me go to the next question. Oh, this one is really hard. Which is the percentage likelihood that you can survive an asteroid field? Okay, and you have some really complicated numbers here. So, or you know it, or you don't know it, to be honest. But if you're a real fan, you should know it. Okay, and there we go. And time is off. And let me see. Well, we have a great mix of answers, but the correct answer was answer D. Okay. And I think we are already at the last question. And let me do that. Okay, there we go. A free set collection in Java contains duplicated elements with order, duplicated elements without order, unique elements without order, unique elements with order. That is the last question. So be sure to have this right. Okay, it's almost done. And there we are. And let me see. Okay, yeah, most people answer the correct question. And that should be the end of the game. So now I'm going to do next question. And, review answer, yeah. And now you should all see when I push the button, the final scoreboard. Okay, and there we have the final scoreboard. Okay, so congratulations to Bjarn, 4380. And Brendan, wow, same score, 69 points. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to Alan and Guido, which are also, but it's really close, look at it, okay? It's really, really close. So that was it for the game. I hope you really enjoyed it. Don't worry, next week we will have another game, and for maybe in 1 month we will be able to play this game again. Okay, so we will be trying to have a different game each month, at least 4 different games, so you will be able to come back and play the trivia game with other more difficult questions. Okay, well, looks like it's almost done for the first show. So I really hope that you had fun, that you appreciate the news section. Again, thanks Ray for being there. It was an awesome interview. You have always so much insights about stuff. I really appreciate that. And the game ran well. I didn't have any issue with the game. You were, well, almost 50 people playing. I have to leave the channel because another stream is starting in 2 minutes. So be sure to be there next week. We will have Sebastian Daschner as guest from IBM. We will talk a lot about Java, but also a bit about Kubernetes and another game, and I will play another instrument. So again, thank you so much, and I really hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.